Hey everybody, this is Dr. Daniel Choi here from North Texas Dental Surgery, Wisdom Teeth and Denture Implant Center.
And I'm Dr. Adam Bellingham from the Grapevine Dentist.
All right, Dr. B. I wanted to, obviously I'm biased. I'm, doing a lot of dental implants, do a lot of all-on-4, snap-on dentures, even regular dentures. But obviously a lot of people come to me for snap-ons and all-on-4 and stuff like that. I want to get your perspective. You've been practicing, this is your 15th year now. Obviously you've seen a ton of all-on-4, snap-on dentures. I'm sure there's a lot of patients out there that have done their research because maybe they heard they're gonna lose their teeth. So they need to look at one of these options, or they've been wearing a regular denture already, so they want to look at some of their options. Tell me what I know we've had a lot of conversations. I want to let them know about, let's start with snap-on dentures, or overdentures. Implant-supported overdentures is what we
fancy term.
Yeah, that's what we call them. But we, the general public knows them as snap-on dentures, snap-in dentures.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on them?
And they're pretty great. I mean, overall, they're way better than your conventional denture. If you kind of went on a continuum of, I have no teeth and I need to restore them. You've got, your plain old denture here, it's something for someone who has no teeth, but its function is fairly limited. You can get nice aesthetics, but the big deal is your function is limited.
Right.
It's just held in with adhesive.
Right.
And so your next step would be something like a snap-in denture.
Can we talk real quick about the downsides of a regular denture?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So downsides of your
Let's talk
regular
about the upper
denture.
denture, because the upper and lower is significantly different.
Very true.
Right?
Very true.
Right.
So uppers function fairly well. You can normally get some pretty good adhesive. They normally have pretty decent stability because the palate's fairly wide and it's dense bone up there.
But there's a disadvantage with that palate, right? Like I had a patient 2 days ago tell me that he was gagging with all that plastic back there.
The downside of an upper denture is it needs to get suction and hold in. It's got to cover the entire roof of the mouth and make it to the edge of your hard and soft palate where they meet.
Yep.
And if you've got a strong gag reflex, that can really be a challenge. You also, since you do have to cover the roof of the mouth, you do have a decrease in taste and food feeling sensation when you eat. Food's not going to quite taste and feel the same.
It's kind of shocking, right? You think that all the taste is on your tongue, but no, it's the soft palate.
There's some up there for sure. And it's noticeable, and also just the feel is different. That's kind of its main downsides.
Right.
For the lower, the main downside is stability. Your tongue is always moving around, so that denture is sitting on a mobile surface.
It's doing...
Yeah, because the floor of your mouth is not static and stable. If you stick your finger down on the floor of your mouth and raise up your tongue, it pushes against it. You're pushing that denture up and out all the time and moving it around.
Right.
And so some people have less mobile floor of the mouth. There's a lot of reasons why it may or may not be more stable for others than others, but in general, stability on a lower denture is fairly poor. And so if you can do something to lock that denture in place, it is a complete game changer.
Yep.
And so having a snap-in denture is really nice because, one, a lot of times you can retrofit your existing lower denture if it's in good shape, which is great. If it's in good shape, it needs to be.
If it fits properly, someone who made that original denture did a good job. You can't just take any denture.
No, you don't want to convert a crummy denture because you're just going to end up with still a crummy snap-on. So you can refit a good denture if it's a good one. If not, you make a new one and then we pick up our attachments. But the nice thing about a snap-in is it's got a benefit of it's less expensive than an all-on-4. You get really good stability out of them, and they're easy to maintain because you can take it out and clean it.
Right.
Downsides of one are they do have a little bit more maintenance. It is acrylic, so you can eventually wear out the teeth from chewing on it. From anything can wear from chewing.
But it's plastic, right?
Acrylic is softer than teeth and softer than what we make our all-on-4 prosthesis out of, so it can wear. And the inserts, when you have the little snaps on the inside,
these little female parts that click
there's a
into the
little
male
nylon
parts.
ring that goes inside there, which lets it snap on and off. And those will wear out over time.
Right.
And so they do have to be replaced. And it's an easy procedure to replace them, but how long they last is very dependent on the person, the implant placement, how much function you do, etc. But as for, are they better than a conventional denture? Yes, by a huge margin.
Right. I like to tell people, like, life is expectations, right? So it's like, it's funny because some of the movies that I liked most were movies that I actually didn't have high expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like restaurants too, right?
Yeah.
And then conversely, you can have super high, just, you had super high expectations about like a certain movie or a food or whatever, and then it just disappoints, and then you can't get over it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I tell patients this: if you're wearing a regular denture, and again, they're abysmal.
Yeah. You need to keep your expectations low when it comes to a traditional denture.
Yeah.
It's just being 100% honest with you.
Yeah. But getting like something that something's that doing this, suddenly get some implants in there, and now it's like it's staying in place. That's fantastic, right?
Yeah.
So one of the other things too, though, is that for lower dentures, we talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
The minimum required implants is 2. 4 is a hell of a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, I've restored tons of cases on 2 implants, 3 implants, 4 implants, and while 2 will get you some retention to where it won't pop out, the problem is you're now moving from, you've put 2 solid points in here, and tissue has squish.
Right.
You will always get some seesawing.
Yep.
I don't care how many times you reline that thing or refit the inside or try and add more acrylic, gums have squish.
Yeah.
You will always get some seesawing.
This is a 2 implant over denture, and you can even when
even
I chew on the
model,
back, you can hear it.
you can see it. And those nylon inserts, they're nylon. They have give. They're designed to have, they stretch and spring over it, and that in itself is built-in give.
Right.
So it's not metal on metal. Well, if you can get 4 in, you eliminate that seesawing, and the only movement comes from that tiny bit of flex from nylon.
Right.
It's so much better if you can get 4. And this is from, I've restored hundreds of these things in different configurations, and if I was doing a snap-on and had the bone for 4 implants, all the way.
Now that's a huge point. I was going to say that the bone. You got the bone.
You've got to have adequate bone to get those implants to support those implants.
It's easy to get 2 implants in up front.
Yeah, almost everyone will have enough bone for that.
But back here,
Can be a little
how much
tougher.
bone do we have? And then the reason is that you have these 2 major nerves running along here called the inferior alveolar nerve. And obviously us in dentistry are always trying to do, we don't want to hit that.
Yep, don't want to hit the nerves.
In order to do a snap-on denture, you need to place, if you're wanting to place 4 implants or even 2 implants, 3 implants, however many you place, we want them to be as parallel as possible.
Yeah.
So that when this goes in, that it can have the proper draw.
Yeah.
If my implants are going in at different angles, they tell us that, hey, some of these nylon inserts can compensate for that. That's garbage,
Yeah, they don't compensate. You're talking 15, 20 degrees of off angle tops.
Yeah.
And
tops.
even if you can get all of those to snap and engage, those off angle ones, that nylon wears really fast.
Right. So that tightness that you feel will give very quickly in a few weeks.
It's very technically challenging for the surgeon to put those 4 implants in parallel.
Right.
So you need someone with the skills, but that also means you've got to have adequate bone because there's not a lot of leeway of where those need to go. There needs to be bone in the right spots for him to place those
100%.
implants in the right angle.
Right. So, and I've placed thousands of implants, including residency over 13 years. It's over denture, like these snap-on denture cases can be very difficult sometimes because you're just trying to get everything perfect. We have certain other tools that can do like computer guided and all that stuff.
We've got guides, we've got lots of things that can help us out.
One problem with that too, though, is like when I'm taking the teeth out and placing implants same day, how that bone is in that area. Was there any infection? Did some more extra bone break off that we didn't anticipate? That can kind of throw a kink in our plans too. Avoiding the nerves, that's another thing. And then we're having all these other factors involved, and then trying to get these angles as perfect as possible so that we can get the proper draw. It can be challenging. So one thing I want to tell you guys, if you're getting a snap-on denture done, make sure you're getting it done with somebody good.
Yes.
Otherwise,
as someone who has tried to restore a lot of people's work, man, not all surgeons are created equal.
Right.
I've had some things that have come back to me, and I've had to tell the patient, all right, you paid for 4 implants down here. I can only use 3 of them. One of them is either so poorly placed or so off angle that I can't use it.
Right.
And Patients just out of luck.
Yep.
You know, I've unfortunately had to have that conversation with patients.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, and then like, I guess we're focusing on the lower because lowers are really what drive people crazy, right? So
Yeah.
people want to do implant denture. Hey, if you guys, bottom line is if you guys can swing it for the cost, get those extra 2 implants.
Yes.
It
Yes.
does make a significant difference in the overall experience of, and function. Aesthetically, obviously, like who you're working with, that you can spend a little bit more money if you want to use better looking teeth.
Yeah.
All these little factors come into play for aesthetics, but overall function, yeah, making sure that you have 4 implants, making sure that they're nice and parallel. That's something that, like, if you're even attuned, hey, a very educated patient, then, and like, basically, we as clinicians, we like that because it holds us to a higher standard too, right? So you want to make sure that you also communicate with your surgeon that, like, hey, I heard that one of the issues that can arise with these overdentures is that we need to make sure that these implants are as parallel as possible. So just communicate that with your doctor also. So that's for the lower. For the upper, the benefits we mentioned were cutting the roof of the mouth out.
Yeah, when you're doing your upper, if you no longer need that suction to retain it because you've got 4 implants on the upper, you've got to do 4 implants. You can't get away with 2 on the upper because it will sag from gravity.
Yep.
You want to do 4. And because of that, we no longer need that suction. You can cut the entire roof of the mouth out of the denture, and you just have your horseshoe of acrylic teeth, and you just need enough thickness for it to be strong so it doesn't break.
Right.
So you can really thin it down. You can take flanges off.
What is the flanges?
So the flange is a flange is
extra.
all this extra that goes down into, that was classy, down into the vestibule of your mouth where your lips kind of tuck down and curve over. You can remove all that because you don't need it. All that is there to create stability and suction. Well, we don't need that anymore. The Snap-on are doing that for us. So it's much more streamlined, which makes, it more comfortable. You get your taste of food back.
Right.
If you're a gagger, you eliminate that whole problem. It just really streamlines the whole process.
Now, the lower needs more flange, though, right?
Typically, yes. Even if you're doing a lower snap-in, we typically will have a little bit of extra flange.
And why?
We'll do that one for to keep food from getting stuck under there so much because your food's really traveling around a lot more on the lower. And in some people, as long as it's fully seated, it just will improve some of that extra stability.
Yeah, 100%. So,
but you can trim them. They don't need to be long and deep
right.
like they are on a conventional denture. You can trim them back quite a bit.
Right. There's but also to compare like a Snap-on versus all-on-4, like you could see like how much less flange there is involved because this is screwed in, right? All-on-4. This is like almost like a suction type of device. So I mean, I guess like we'll talk about that in the next video. But if you try to compare like even an all-on-4, which is even better, versus the Snap-on dentures, it's like we got suction, which is good, but now we got something screwed in.
Yeah, the biggest deal is the difference between those is maybe not so much retention, but like chewing function.
Right.
Even though these are snapped on, you're still with a snap-on denture. It's implant retained, but not implant supported, and there's that distinction means that the nylon snaps are holding it in from when you say you bite into something sticky and pull apart. The implants are holding that in, so it doesn't flop out on you. But when you're chewing up and down, it's still your tissue that's doing the majority of taking the force of chewing.
So it's tissue support.
Tissue is supporting that. Your ridge of bone and tissue are supporting that, along with the little bit of vertical stop that those 4 implants give you.
Right.
That's where it's implant retained as opposed to supported. When you move to an all-on-4, it doesn't matter what your tissue and ridge are doing. It is screwed into those implants. It is implant supported. You are chewing on the equivalent of 4 metal tooth roots locked into bone, and that thing is screwed rigidly affixed to it. It's rock solid. It is as close as you can get chewing with real teeth that you can get in an artificial prosthesis.
Right.
Its function level is considerably higher.
Right.
So that's where the distinction makes. they both stay in real nice.
Right.
But if you're really wanting to, like, I want to bite something off of my front teeth, I want to get that steak, I want to get that apple,
That corn.
man,
Yep.
all on four, that sucker's just like having teeth in there.
Right.
It's great.
Well, yeah, let's actually start talking about that here in our next video.
Yeah.
But hopefully you guys found this information helpful. If so, please give us a like and a follow.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. The Grapevine Dentist on Instagram and YouTube.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll see you guys later. Take
Thanks,
care.
guys.
Bye.